welcome to the Tristan channel, and today I'll be talking about eclecticism. Why? Because I consider myself as an eclectic in my life philosophy or view. In the occult they call this, for example, an eclectic witch or sorcerer, or in some circles an eclectic pagan. Eclecticism is a conceptual approach that does not hold rigidly to a single paradigm or set of assumptions, but instead draws upon multiple theories, styles or ideas to gain complementary insights into a subject, or applies different theories in particular cases. However, this is often without conventions or rules dictating how or which theories were combined. It can sometimes seem inelegant or lacking in simplicity, and eclectics are sometimes criticised for lack of consistency in their thinking. It is, however, common in many fields of study. For example, most psychologists accept certain aspects of behaviourism, but do not attempt to use the theory to explain all aspects of human behaviour. Eclecticism in ethics, philosophy, politics and religion is also known as synchronism. Eclecticism was first recorded to have been practiced by a group of ancient Greek and Roman philosophers who attached themselves to no real system but selected from existing philosophical beliefs those doctrines that seemed most reasonable to them. Out of this collected material, they constructed their new system of philosophy. The term comes from the Greek electilikos, literally choosing the best, and that from ekletos, picking out, select. Well-known eclectics in Greek philosophy were the Stoics, Pentheus and Poseidonus, and the new academics Carneades and Philo of Laceria. Among the Romans, Cicero was thoroughly eclectic, as he united the peripatetic, Stoic and new academic doctrines. Butchered those words, but anyway. Philo's successor and Cicero's teacher, Anarchius of Achelon, is credited with influencing the academy so that it finally transitioned from skepticism to eclecticism. Other eclectics include Varro and Seneca the Younger. According to Rosca and Sudahoglnik, however, even though eclecticism had a Greek origin, the term was rarely used, and it was even given a negative connotation by historians of Greek thought, associating it with the description for impure and unoriginal thinking. Scholars such as Clement of Alexandria maintained that eclecticism had a long history in Greek philosophy, and it is underpinned by a deeper metaphysical and theological conviction concerning the absolute as the source of all noble thoughts, and that all parts of the truth can be found among the various philosophical systems. The term eclecticism has many uses. It is used to describe the combination in a single work of elements from different historical styles, chiefly in architecture and by implication in the fine and decorative arts. In architecture and art, the term is sometimes also loosely applied to the general stylistic variety of the 19th century architecture. After neoclassicalism, circa 1820, although the revivals of the styles in that period have since the 1970s generally been referred to as aspects of historicism. Eclecticism plays an important role in critical discussions and evaluations, but is somehow distant from the actual forms of the artifacts to which it is applied, and its meaning is thus rather indistinct. The simplest definition of the term, that every work of art represents a combination of a variety of influences, is so basic as to be of little use. In some ways, eclecticism is reminiscent of mannerism in that the term was used pejoratively for much of the period of its currency, although unlike mannerism, eclecticism never amounted to a movement or constituted a specific style. It is characterized precisely by the fact that it was not a particular style. Some martial arts can be described as eclectic in the sense that they borrow techniques from a wide variety of other martial arts. In theology, in textual criticism, eclecticism is the practice of examining a wide number of text witnesses and selecting the variant that seems best. The result of the process is a text with readings drawn from many witnesses. In a purely eclectic approach, no single witness is theoretically favoured. Instead, the critic forms opinions about individual witnesses, relying on both external and internal evidence. Since the mid-19th century, eclecticism, in which there is no a prior bias to a single manuscript, has been the dominant method of editing the Greek text of the New Testament. Currently, the United Bible Society 4th edition and Nestle and Adland 27th edition. Even so, the oldest manuscripts, being of the Alexandrian text type, are the most favoured, and the critical text has an Alexandrian deposition. In philosophy and Hellenistic philosophy, the eclectics use elements from multiple philosophies, texts, life experiences, and their own philosophical ideas. These ideas include life as connected with existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. This movement is closely associated with a Middle Platoism. And Antiochus of Absalon in 69 BC was the pupil of Philo of Lasera and a teacher of Cicero, though his influence, Platonism, transitioned from the academic skepticism of the new academy to eclecticism. Bit of a mouthful, this. Whereas Philo had adhered to the doctrine that there is nothing absolute, certain Antiochus abandoned this to support dogmatism. Among his objections to skepticism was the consideration that without firm convictions, no rational content of life is possible. Antiochus pointed out that it is a contradiction to assert that nothing can be asserted or to prove that nothing can be proved, that we cannot speak of false ideas and at the same time deny the distinction between false and true. He expounded the academic peripatetic and Stoic systems in such a way as to show that these three schools deviated from one another only in minor points. Antiochus was chiefly interested in ethics, in which he tried to find a middle way between Zeno of Citium, Aristotle, and Plato. For instance, he said that virtue suffices for eudaimonia, but for the highest grade of happiness, bodily